Good Saturday morning, everybody. Glad to have you here. Again, if you will, like, share, comment on the post, and then we will jump right into a great story, continuing a great story in Acts chapter 26, beginning in verse 12. There we see Paul's continuing his defense, continuing his really kind of his life story, and then he gets to this piece where he's going to tell of his conversion. Beginning in verse 12, so in this connection I journeyed to Damascus with the authority and commission of the chief priest. At midday, O king, I saw on the way a light from heaven, brighter than the sun, that shone round me and those who journeyed with me. And when he had all fallen to the ground, I heard a voice saying to me in the Hebrew language, Saul, Saul, why are you persecuting me? It is hard for you to kick against the goads. And I said, Who are you, Lord? And the Lord said, I am Jesus, whom you are persecuting. But rise and stand upon your feet, for I have appeared to you for this purpose, to appoint you as a servant and witness to the things in which you have seen me, and to those in which I will appear to you, delivering you from your people and from the Gentiles, to whom I am sending you, to open their eyes, so that they may turn from darkness to light and from the power of Satan to God, that they may receive forgiveness of sins and a place among those who are sanctified by faith in me. And so Paul again, we have another accounting of Paul's conversion experience as we have in chapter 9 of this book. And Paul just relays that. He tells that story again of how Jesus had confronted him, met him, appeared to him back in chapter 9. We see again in chapter 22 the same story. And at that moment, he sees, he has this vision that where Jesus appears to him. At the moment he received that vision, you remember Saul, as he was known at that point, was on his way to Damascus with every intention of arresting followers of the way, as he called them, or believers, Christians. He had every intention of following them, of arresting them, and he wasn't sorry for it. He was, in fact, probably kind of happy about it. He wanted to wipe out this new teaching that had come on the scene, and as he does, he has a light shine round about him that the Bible says here is brighter than the sun. And this one who Paul no doubt thought was dead, because he certainly didn't believe at that time in the resurrection, spoke to him. And the voice asked him, says, it's hard for you to kick against the goads. It's hard for you to disregard God's will and God's plan. My way of, I've explained it a number of times this way. It's like taking a stem of a rose and running your hand backwards down that stem. Those thorns are going to eat your hand up. And the same thing what Paul is saying, it's just hard for you to go in the wrong way. It's hard for you to go against the plan that I have. And he says, I am bringing to your life now a new purpose, a new mission, a new reason for being, and salvation. I'm bringing that into your life, and from this purpose, from this point on, your purpose will to be a witness, to tell people what you have seen and heard about the Lord, from the Lord. In particular, he says down here, you're going to take the gospel to the Gentiles. You're going to go out into the world, and your purpose then, he says, is to turn, that they may turn from darkness to light and from the power of Satan to God. And so Paul is given this mighty assignment, and so he relays that to these who would interrogate him and come against him, that I have a purpose to lead people to light, away from Satan. And he says, I'm telling you that there was a time, and he keeps bringing this up. The more you read of Paul's defense, he does this quite often. Says, listen, most of you, you knew me back when. You knew what kind of a person I was. You knew who I was, that I was persecuting Christians, that I was completely against them. I was their adversary. But now, he says, just as hard as I pursued the Gentiles to lead them away from Christ and to stop them from serving Him, I have doubled down now on my efforts to bring men and women to Christ, to bring them to a knowledge of Christ. And I'm going to dedicate myself to that purpose. And what a great testimony that obviously Paul has. And while all of us should have a testimony about what God has done in our life, probably none of us quite have a testimony like Paul has, because this is certainly, again, an amazing story as Paul recounts, and a dramatic change in his life. But we too, like Paul, just as God saved Paul, or Saul as he was known at that time, on that Damascus road, and he saved him and laid out for him very clearly his purpose, what he was, why he was being saved, and what he was supposed to be doing. He has this new reason for living, and I personally believe, and I think the Bible backs this up as well, that every person that God has saved, He has a purpose for that salvation. We often talk of God calling preachers. I believe with all my heart, yes, God does call preachers. But God also, I believe, calls lumberyard workers or sailors or school teachers or, folks that drive trucks, homemakers. God has a purpose for our life, just as He did for Paul. Yours may not be as huge and granted as dangerous as Paul carrying the gospel to these people who obviously are not fond of hearing the gospel. But if you're a homemaker, you have a purpose to share the gospel with your children, to share the gospel with those around you. If you're a truck driver, you're traveling all over the country, you're meeting different people, share the gospel. School teachers, whatever, we have a purpose. And I want to encourage you with that and challenge you with that today, to know your purpose and to fulfill your purpose. Let God use you to accomplish great things in His kingdom. Hope you never have to stand before a Roman leader with your life on the line. But when you do go, and you go to the grocery store and you're standing in front of a cashier, tell them about Jesus. I believe that's what God's plan is for us. All right, you have a good day. We'll see you here tomorrow morning.